information without application is hallucination. But it's like that with anything in life, right? It's like there's so much information that's out there right now. They're not asking questions. They're just literally doing what everybody's telling them to do, and they're not curious. The quality of your life is really proportionate to the quality of the questions that you ask.
Thank you, Rod, for being here. This has been an unusual podcast for me because I've never done back-to-back podcasts today. So I will release them at different times. I think it wouldn't be a good justice to release both episodes on the same day. But I had your business partner and friend, Randy, and now I have you, Dr. Rob. So thank you. I can't say enough to have you and Randy both come in on the same day, but thank you for also wanting to do this as well.
Oh, thank you so much for having us. This is it's been a great time so far.
So what do we got in store for me with the hair? And then I'm going to hear everything about you being a doctor and how you started Happy Healthy.
All right. So for the hair, I'm thinking, all right, I've got 3 kids. So,
and they all take your hair?
16, 17, and 21.
Okay.
So good stylish haircut, cool dad, not trying to be cool dad. So bring it in on the sides, keep some of this up here, right here.
Yeah.
But not, I mean, I'm down for anything, to be honest with you.
All right. So let's talk about this. The idea of cool sounds so specific to that person.
Yeah.
Right? Like when I go to teach a haircut class, I go, I was leaning edgy. And I'm like, dude, I deal with rock stars. Like I've done everything.
Yeah.
Edgy for me is probably very different for edgy from somebody else.
Yeah.
So when I think of cool, I'm like, well, what is cool to you? What does cool embody? Like, what is it that what are they? Probably a better way to figure it out is what haircuts make you feel uncool?
Oh, haircuts that make me feel uncool are going to be like super short, like combed tight to the side with the part.
Yeah.
Not down for that. But here's the thing, even, my entire life, I've always said I've got, my hair is like kind of hair. The kind of hair that grows on a Rottweiler's ass. So not like the easiest hair to be able to manage. And so for me, when I say cool, it's just going to be something that has some style to it.
Okay. And are you with style? Like you dress very, like you're always dressed up. Like you always have some sort of blazer. Yeah. You always have the loafers, the linen. It's a very Italian sort of like, I don't see you in a full suit, but you have elements of the suit, right?
Sure.
Is that how you always dress?
Pretty much, yeah. It's more like a casual Italian type of a vibe, like, down by the Italian beach. That's kind of always my vibe.
Yeah. Okay. So that's your vibe.
Yeah.
And so what I would do is let's lean into that. Let's find a hairstyle that helps add to that, because to me, style is more than just a haircut. It's everything, right? It goes down to like starting here, like all the details matter.
Yeah.
The haircut, like having long sideburns or short sideburns doesn't seem like a very trivial thing, but when you see somebody without sideburns and with sideburns, it can change their face drastically, right? They can frame the face, and sometimes they don't need, like if you have a really wide face, sometimes that's why guys with really square wide faces look really great with the skin fit.
Yeah.
It just balances out the proportions of someone's face. Let's find something that like works where it's like effortlessly chic. Yeah. So like the cool thing about linen is it can be wrinkly and it doesn't look like you don't look like see.
Sure.
But if you have like perfectly like cotton dress shirt, it gets a little wrinkled, it gets a little ruffled. It looks not as put together, right? So there's these elements that are like probably not very like on the conscious, but like on the subconscious. So like, why do these things always work? So if you're wearing linen because it's summer and it's here and we're in Texas, you can't get away with wearing like, crazy bespoke wool suits. It would just be too hot.
Sure.
So let's find something that like gives that like very carefree, but yet very cool Italian kind of vibe. What I'm thinking about right now, immediately what I see is I see that there's a little bit of a density difference from the top to the bottom. Yeah, I'm going to be very fine. Yeah. So like right in through here, like you have your hand, but it's not as dense as like right in through here, right? So when you start pushing this part down and you start pushing this part up, it's drawing your focal point to the area that it sounds like most men want to draw away from.
Okay.
Which is that like it shows all length here. So like what I think of, like what I like to do is I try to mess someone's hair up. I like to see like, well, what could we do with what they have? Is it a styling issue? Is it a haircut issue?
Okay.
Are you with me on this?
Oh, I'm totally with you.
Cool. Right. It's like you have like the right clothes, but you have like the wrong fit.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Or the right colors, wrong style.
Okay.
So what I'm seeing is like right through here, I think these guys are really long.
Yeah.
And you're pushing these down. So I don't know if that's just grown hair, but I also think you're using a nice product, whatever it is, like a more of a matte finish product. And if you put a matte finish product on dry hair, it's not going to gel the hair together, which is going to give you scalp exposure. It's going to make the hair look more dense and less hollow in certain areas because you want to be able to restrict the light down. Right?
Okay.
And I'm just saying that because I just know how I can see this. And if you try to push this part down, kind of push this up, it's just drawing your head, your eye, like right into here. And so if we're able to not do that, I mean, the cool thing about having like a one that's like a little messier, tousled vibes is that the hair are kind of like palm leaves and they kind of thatch over. And what happens is when leaves are here, you don't get the light in. So it makes this front area look deceivingly more dense because the hair can't get through there.
Got it.
You with me on that one? So like, I'm just looking at this, I go, oh, actually, this actually isn't that crazy. And if you cut this part a little shorter, funny enough, it sounds counterintuitive, but it makes things look more dense.
Okay.
Because what happens is the shorter something gets to a certain point, not like a buzz, but to a certain point, is that long hair and those short hairs that don't reach the long hair, they're creating a more denser visual aesthetic.
Yeah.
But if everything stays long, what happens is the hair that's really long is really long.
Yeah.
And then it creates this like disparity of really long and then not as long. And then that starts making it look like there's less hair at the top. And I just see that right through here, and obviously there's a lot of lights coming on and I don't know if it's translating onto the camera, but from where I'm at, I'm just being completely frank with you. Yeah. I'd rather have this conversation because most men have this, but they don't know how to talk about it.
For sure.
And I'm like, I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off. I'm like, let's just talk about it. Right. So, what I was thinking is like, it'd be really cool if you could go through and like towel dry your hair, kind of get your hair pretty dry, brush it around how you want, put your product in when it's pretty much almost dry. And I think it'd be nice just to have something where like this part right here isn't too short. But what I also know is like these pieces are really long right into here. And it'd be nice to kind of get a little bit more of some squareness into here and not as round. And these pieces are up here, so they're like really wide and they're making your head go like this. And so as it grows out, you have the light bulb. Yeah. And most of these squared shapes are really great because they provide a stronger jawline and inherently more masculine shapes to be rectangular and square. These are the shapes we're brought up to be, and that's what creates more like it also promotes stronger bone structure because of the squareness just reinforces the squareness of cheeks and the jaw.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So are you cool with something like that? Because I just see this and I'm like, we just get rid of this right through here.
Yeah, absolutely. I look like a palm tree.
Root. All right. Let me cape you up and then we're going to go down that road of Dr. Rob. All right. So you're a doctor.
Yes.
A doctor of what?
Doctor of chiropractic by profession.
Okay.
Chiropractor.
I love chiropractors.
I do.
So how did you get into being a chiropractor?
Yeah, it was one of those things where I would say like chiropractic chose me. I never set out to be a chiropractor.
Yeah.
In fact, was raised traditional medical model home.
Yeah.
Took medication for everything all the time.
Yeah.
And for me, I had an awful migraine headaches.
Okay.
And so I can remember even as a kid, I would have to climb up onto the toilet in my mom's bathroom just to be able to get into the medicine cabinet, which would traditionally be the cabinet where you would keep the towels. But because she had taken so many different medications for things, she needed a bigger cabinet. So that's where I would go. And I'd get the aspirin out of there, or even back then it was stuff called Aspergum. And I would chew that Aspergum all day long in order to be able to get rid of these headaches. And that carried with me throughout school until I graduated from high school. My mom always wanted her son to go to medical school and be a medical doctor. And I always had a desire to want to help people. And so lo and behold, that's what I did. I got my pre-med requisites and ended up going to medical school at the University of Texas Health Science Center in San Antonio, Texas. But at the same time, my headaches continued to keep on getting worse and worse and worse. By that time, I was giving myself Imitrex shots because
What the fuck is that?
so Imitrex is a drug given to people for migraine headaches.
Okay.
But I was having to give it to myself through shots because the medications that I was taking orally were starting to literally eat and wear a hole through my stomach. And so I would cough up a blood. I'm like, this isn't good. So that's where I was at. Well, I had a lab partner in school. Jimmy Felix, the guy's name. I still remember. And we're having a conversation and he's like, bro, why you keep taking that shit? He's like, you gotta stop doing that. You gotta go see my chiropractor. And I'm like, what in the hell is a chiropractor? Is that even a real doctor? And so you hear what? You do. And no experience about it other than I knew my dad went to a chiropractor. My stepmom went to a chiropractor. And so I just thought they put like hot packs on your back, cracked your neck. I had no idea what they did. So called my dad, said, hey, I need to go to the chiropractor. I go to his chiropractor and in San Antonio, Texas, Dr. David Kling. And he starts talking to me about the anatomy of how the body works and how the nervous system controls every single cell, tissue, and function inside the body. And if there's anything interfering with the flow of that nervous system, it's going to cause a problem. So he showed me through an x-ray of my neck, how I had nerves that were being cut off going to the areas of my neck. And that was causing my headaches. So I'm like, all right, cool. I love anatomy. This makes a lot of sense. He started adjusting me. Within 2 weeks, to have these migraine headaches were gone. So
You're talking about like pretty much to that point, a lifetime of plagued head pain. My headaches.
yeah,
Solved in 2 weeks.
solved in 2 weeks. So I'm like, all right,
Real quick, I have to ask.
Yeah.
Now that you post this, right? You understand the anatomy. You've done your training as a chiropractor. You're, so many years on your belt as a chiropractor. What was the technical reason that actually was giving you these headaches?
So the technical reason was, so at the base of your brainstem, you've got the atlas. Had a misaligned atlas that was literally putting pressure directly onto the nerves there at the C1, C2 area.
Okay.
And as a result of that, that was choking off that nerve flow.
I had to ask because if there's any hairdressers listening, we actually have to learn anatomy and we have to learn about the skull.
Okay.
And we have to learn about like all sorts of stuff. Like, because like when I'm teaching, I'll say like, look, your ears are never even.
Yeah.
And like they could be shifting forward or backwards slightly or up or down, but your mastoid process is almost exactly even. The bones are far more symmetrical than the cartilage is built on it. So when we're talking about like why something doesn't line up, like, oh, it's because it's cartilage is actually not the bone. More than likely the skull is symmetrical, but then things built on it are not. And that can be shifted through a lot of developmental things. Like, and again, the skull may look even, but if you look, you realize that there's some deviations, things tilt, but for more often enough, the mastoid process is going to be even. Your parietal ridge is going to be even, your apex and to your crown. Certainly these things are going to be more symmetrical than, your ears and your nose. So, I geek out on that stuff. Like I wanted to actually know. So sorry about that.
You know what? That's the most anatomy I've ever heard from a hairstylist in my life. So I'm impressed.
Well, you need to be around the ones that are teaching haircut. We have to know why the areas of the head do this. So like most people's heads round up, most men will round up, it should be rounded up higher around the parietal ridge, but they round up a little bit before that, right? So you have your ears, then yours gets wider here, right?
Yep.
And that rounds up. So if you leave this too long, I get it. Like you want to leave this long because you want to create this square shape. But if you take it too long and you create like too much of an inverse to the shape, what happens as it grows out round. So what I'm doing is I'm building up the shape that I want to see here. And then I'm just going to bring this part down slightly so that way you'll have that. And again, a lot of hairdressers will do too many straight lines when what happens is like you have a curved surface, like your head is round, right? And so you have to put sometimes diagonal or curved lines because that actually makes a straight line on the curved surface. More straight lines on the curved surface create curved lines. So there's a lot of like counterintuitive pattern work that goes on. So sorry to derail you.
I'm against that. I'm totally with you.
Yeah.
So he helped me with those migraine headaches. And so I really said, all right, I'm done with the medical school route. I want to go be a chiropractor. And so that's what I did. So I applied to this chiropractic school in Dallas, Texas called Parker University. Got in. That was my last semester of medical school. and went down to Dallas, and that's how I ended up becoming a chiropractor. And so even still, mind you, I still had a medical mindset, still looked at things through a medical lens. And so it was through chiropractic school that really taught me how to start looking at the body in a completely different way and start looking at the cause rather than treating the symptom. And that right there is what changed everything, because what a lot of people don't realize about chiropractic and how it started, it was all about science, art, and the philosophy. You have to have those three things right there. So it's not just all science. The art is the adjustment. And like you were just talking about with cutting my hair and understanding how everything works together, that right there is a true art, right? And you develop that over time. And so I geeked out about the art part. I geeked out about the science part. And I really wanted to study what was causing people's problems. And it all really started with looking at, all right, what is it that's causing the nervous system not to work the way it's supposed to? And so that's what's going on. Oh, there's a lot of fucked up vagus nerve for sure. For certain. Yeah, absolutely. So that was it. And opened up a practice there in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. And it was through really having that practice there. That's how I met Dr. Randy, who you just cut his hair.
Yeah.
And I got the privilege of being able to mentor him. That's one of the things that I love doing, is teaching others. And mentored him. He was a great, just a sponge for knowledge. And as a result of mentoring him, he literally had, when he was in school, he came over to my office to shadow me and see what was going on. And started calling me every single day, asking questions before he graduated from chiropractic school.
Isn't it great when you find somebody who's naturally curious?
Naturally curious, absolutely. And somebody who is willing to actually apply what it is that they're questioning. And he would just do things, just do it stupid and just do it, and it worked.
I like that you said actually apply. There's this... one of my buddies is named Andre, but he's known online as Chef PSA. And he's like, you can have the most expensive knives and aprons. It's not going to help you cook any better, right?
Yeah.
And I think about, like, you could take all the hair cutting classes you want, but if you don't apply the shit you're learning, what the fuck are you taking classes for? So, like, you can know all these things, but if you're not actually applying it, you're not ever going to be able to get anything out of it. It's just like you just learned something for nothing, really.
Yeah, that's what we always say is information without application is hallucination.
Oh, that's great. I'm going to remember that.
Yeah, so
That's great.
yeah, so you got to apply it. So
I might start the clip with that. Yeah, it's like a perfect starting. What we say is, oh, the law is like,
okay, I mean, it's so true, but it's like that with anything in life, right? It's like there's so much information that's out there right now, but people are just not applying. Well, number one is that they're not asking questions. They're just literally doing what everybody's telling them to do, and they're not curious. And so really, I really feel and believe like the quality of your life is really proportionate to the quality of the questions that you ask.
yeah, which is true, which is much better. Like, people are like, I'm just not getting the right answers. I'm like, start thinking about a better question, a better built question. Like, what are you trying to get the answer of? Yeah. Or just straight up go, like, I'm trying to find the answer to this. Like, I think everyone just plays it a little too safe with the questioning.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. So opened up this practice, and then had a thriving chiropractic practice and helped a lot of people. But even with that, like, it's just like, you're helping people and getting to the cause of the problem. But in doing that, it was one of those things where even having a large practice, like both the ones that I had and Dr. Randy had, just got to a point where I was literally getting myself so stressed out and with the running of the business, practice, helping others. And I think that's one of the things that, as even being in the healing profession, we help everybody else, but we don't actually help ourselves.
Oh, it's the whole cobbler's kids, right?
Yeah.
Like the mechanic whose car doesn't run.
That's exactly right. So that was me.
Or the hairdresser who never cuts their family's hair. Don't ask my wife. I'm guilty of that one sometimes.
Really?
Oh, yeah, totally. You know what? And it's not a cop out, but it's true. I am not used to calling people to say, by the way, you need to come in and get a haircut. They usually call and set up an appointment, and they show up in my chair.
Okay.
So I'm my wife, I'm like, why don't you just say, hey, I need a haircut? She goes, yeah, but like you should want to come here. I'm like, I always want to cut your hair. It's not that. I've been programmed for 20 years. I have people just like show up in my chair. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it.
All right. That's fair.
I mean, like, think about it. It'd be like adjusting your family. Like, it'd be like, oh, my neck hurts. You're like, yeah, you should get that looked at.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you're one of my kids literally they've been getting adjusted since the day they were born.
We did the same thing with our boys.
Did you?
Yeah. They've been getting chiropractic treatment since they were babies. Like, we're talking like not years, weeks.
So so I'm curious, how did that actually come about? Like, so most people don't think, hey, I'm going to take my baby to the chiropractor as soon as they're born. So how did that happen?
One, I had clients that were chiropractors. The children of my clients that were chiropractors seemed to never be sick. If they were, they didn't tell me. Perfectly transparency. But they never seemed to they didn't get sick during the winter time. Everyone's getting colds. All the stuff's going through the school. Sick. And if there was something, they had a natural remedy or solution to it. Because instead of most chiropractors are sick. And like the answers in nature, I started oil of oregano is because of the suggestion from one of my chiropractors. Take oil of oregano, do this, blah, 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 this many times. If you're feeling like down, exhausted, good. Sure enough, I started taking it. Oh my gosh, I felt better immediately, like 24 hours, night and day. So those little things gave me like, all right, they've been right about all these. And they're saying you should get them adjusted, not when they're babies, because just the birth is a traumatic physical experience. And that itself, like, even though the baby looks great, there could be things going on internally with the alignment of the spinal cord and all that could be not optimizing their health long term. Now, I'm trying to compress a long haircut conversation. Like, it was the entire haircut they were talking to me about what I need to do. So it was that. And then my wife and I are really open-minded to a lot of different things. And we had said, like, yeah, we should do it. And we were also know about how there are chiropractors who treat pregnant women specifically because the baby may be breached. And so they do, I forget the technique that is called.
Webster's.
Yes. To help the baby flip.
Yeah.
And we knew a friend of ours who's actually now living up in Dallas. She went to this one chiropractor who was known for that Webster's technique of dealing with pregnant women and babies right after that. And of course, all people, but like that was like where her niche was. And baby was breached, saw her a few times, baby not breached, had baby.
Yeah.
And so we went to that chiropractor when we lived in California. And so she was one who was treating our children. And then we came out here in 2020. And so we had about a year or two of not doing chiropractic work because the world was a little odd. Like, I didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know if we're going to stay here or not stay here. You just don't know, right? Once my wife was involved in a car accident, she got rear-ended. That's when we were like, okay, we need to do this. So that's how it happened. And so we picked it back up there. And I mean, Peter's been taking care of them and they've been great. But there's also so that's like the long story, the longer story, that makes sense, or of how we got into that. And so I thought it was really interesting. And then I also had some other mothers tell me that they did that with their children. And again, from knowing when they were pregnant, like I told my wife, I've been through a lot of pregnancy or mine, but knowing someone gets pregnant and then you hear all the things that they're going through, then they have the baby and then tell them what they're doing. They tell you about their health plans, what they're doing and why they're doing it and things that they've read. Because everyone wants to do something for their kids, whatever that looks like. I know what it does for me. I bet you it would make a bigger impact if you started it right then and there.
Yeah.
So that's how we ended up doing that. So, we just had a lot of out of the box thinking. So people were like, I can't believe you're taking your kids to this. We're like, yeah, let us handle that.
Yeah, kudos to you guys. That was my favorite thing in practice, was always adjusting babies, because they are like little machines. And so they don't know any different, right? So their body only really knows to heal. So yeah, that's my kids now. They don't even say anything. They just lay down right in front of me. So that's like the signal to get them adjusted. And so, I mean, even all three kids, not one of them has ever been to a medical doctor for anything. I take that back. My youngest son, Seth, is a little accident prone. He almost cut his finger off. So he went to the doctor for that. That was an emergency, but that really is where that traditional medical,
crisis care
is crisis care, right? Yeah. So that's when that should be used, and thank goodness that it's there. But my daughter used to love to tell everybody that she went to school with that she was born home. All three kids were born completely naturally.
That's cool. Yeah.
So the oldest, Jacob, is the only one who he actually had been in the hospital when he was born. And the reason that happened was because when his mom was pregnant with him, he ended up coming 30 days late. And so the midwife did not feel comfortable with delivering at home. I was comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And she was not. So she ends up going to hospital. I had a friend of mine there who was the on-call doc there at the hospital. He knows exactly how it is that we raised the knew that we didn't want to have any vaccines put in the kids, anything like that. He's like, you know what? The room is yours. Just hit the button. If you need anything, the midwife was in there with us. Jacob literally came, no drugs, no anything. And the only challenge that we had within the system there at the hospital is everything there is a protocol. And the protocol is you have the kid, you have to stay in the hospital this long.
Yeah.
Well, all the APGAR scores were perfect. They wanted to take him to the intensive care unit. I said, no. I go, he can go. If I go with him, everything's fine. Why would he need that? They go, well, because he was early. I'm like, all the scores are normal. So they ended up allowing Jacob to stay in the room. They knew that I was not going to budge. wasn't moving. The next morning, we're ready to go. And they go, okay, if you guys leave the hospital right now, because it's hospital protocol, you leaving AMA. So AMA means against medical advice.
Would that open you up for like some sort of like CPS?
You got it.
Okay.
So they brought in the counselors from the hospital there. So they're like, hey, if you guys leave, so you're going to be AMA. We're going to send CPS to your house. I'm like, all right, do whatever it is that you guys got to do. And then they're like, and the insurance may not pay for it if that happens.
Oh,
so
shit.
You could actually be stuck with, and at that same time, then they go, okay, here's what the bill looks like. So you've got a $25,000 bill you may have to pay for. I'm like, we're going. I'll take my chances. So it was probably like weeks later that I knock on the door. It's this girl, I think she just graduated from college, probably like 21 years old. I'm with CPS. Can I see Jacob? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I go, but I have a question. What took you guys so long to get here? They said that you guys were going to be coming. If there was something that needed to be done, and if my kid was in danger, why did it take 6 weeks to get here?
That's actually a really great question. And I think that's a very like reasonable thing to ask, because if this is a pending urgent emergency that they're going to have to notify this government agency about the potential neglect that they're considering this to potentially be.
Yeah.
6 weeks? 6 weeks to get to find out there's neglect. That sounds neglectful on their part.
Yeah.
To kind of scare you.
Yeah.
It's like a fear tactic.
It is 100% a fear tactic. 100%. So I had been tracking all of Jacob's bowel movements, tried to keep track of his weight, keeping track of everything, had it all written down. She takes a look at that and says, oh, I just need to go check to see, make sure he's okay. And then she goes, what do you do for a living, by the way? And I'm like, well, I'm a chiropractic. She's like, okay, because this isn't a typical visit. And she's like, she looks at Jacob and she's like, all right, he's okay. I'll make sure everything gets dismissed. So that was it.
That's good.
And so that's Jacob's story with being born in a hospital. However, the cool thing about it is that he's always still that mindset, and we'd always
What's the mindset?
So the or that you're always looking to the cause rather than ever treating a symptom.
Okay.
And so rather than being in that traditional just chasing symptoms around, even with everything that's been done with the three kids, from what it is that they eat, even after he had finished breastfeeding, then we weaned him into raw organic goat milk. In doing that.
Somebody told me that a good one, if you don't have it and if you can find it, it was another chiropractor of mine who told me to check out camel's milk.
Yeah.
They said camel's milk is apparently a really great substitute.
No. If you can find it.
Yeah, if you can find it. That's what he said. And I was like, wait, what? He's telling me like, try, fenugreek, you can try this to increase your lactation. You can do this and that. And then he was like, but if you can't do those things, I would recommend finding when they're camels, if you can, because it's a really great substitute if you're not producing enough and you need to do that versus substituting with actual formula, which is, full of lots of things that, I don't want in my life. But it's crazy. I mean, and also to hear how many women struggle with lactation in general, and most of them don't know that their instructor provides for like a lactation specialist to come over and also help with that. Discover with our kid is one reason they weren't really latching because of the lip ties. They had a lip tie. They had to get the frenectomy on that, and then a small tongue tie. And my wife breastfed each of our boy for 2 years. Yeah, we were pretty dedicated to the cause.
I love it.
I'm giving like more information about my personal life in this last 2 episodes. But like youngest son, he was in the NICU for 11 days. He came out 3 pushes.
Okay.
Coloring. I just, it wasn't right. My wife also knew, but our new pediatrician left California to go to Georgia for a number of reasons, which I won't get into. And then she's like, okay, it's fine. You guys can leave now. I'm like, are you sure? And then one of the nurses wanted to check how he was latching, immediately called the NICU, put on the pulse, and his air was at 70. Wow. So the reason his color wasn't there is because he was struggling to breathe. And I've learned all these random effects. So when you are gestationally diabetic, the babies have a tendency to be bigger. And because the babies are bigger, the doctors like to induce labor earlier to prevent a big baby. Mm-hmm. The weird thing is all of the nurses in the NICU have no fucking clue why the doctors like to do this. Because all of the babies, not all, a good chunk of them that are in the NICU that are born just even like 2 weeks earlier because of the gestational diabetic component with the mother, almost all have underdeveloped lungs. They said for some reason, babies born to gestationally diabetic mothers have underdeveloped lungs. So the lungs are not as developed for the week of the baby. So the weeks at like 40 weeks, the lungs are like 35 or something like that. And so what happens and then all the squeezing that happens going through the vaginal canal to expel the water. And since he was done in 3 pushes, the water was still there. So we had to wait for all this water to dissipate. I learned so much because I was the one taking the breast milk back home. Like she'd pump and do that.
Liquid gold.
Yeah. I was like asking him all this because as you can now understand, I ask lots of questions. So much about it. Like, man, had somebody just told us, hey, you know what? You can deliver the baby to full term or let him sit another week or so because the lungs are going to probably not be as the baby would be. And like, it's one of those things. And after that, we got rid of our pediatrician. We're like, when they told us home, and had we gone home, as she said, and that nurse and not saw that, we would have been in a much dire circumstance where we would have had CPS show up at our door because like more than likely, we probably would have not been able to breathe.
That's crazy.
Dude, it was nuts. And it was so scary too, because you're like, and then once they put all the oxygen on, the skin color changed. It went from like a light color to like this rich, vibrant color. But
that's terrifying.
It is.
Yeah. It is. Being a parent, because you're like, all right, God's put me in this little human being. And so you're like, oh my God, I got to make sure that everything is done right. for this kid. So and then there's no handbook either for raising these kids. We just do the best that we possibly can with them. So kudos to you guys. That's and it was
been dealt some pretty interesting medical hands, if you will, right? Challenges. And so we've been able to like navigate it just because we're like my wife and I are like, there has to be a source for this but we're just like the answer we keep getting. We're like, we don't accept it. We're like, that's not sitting right. Like there's more to this. And then sure enough, we'll like finally figure it out. And then we implement whatever we found. And then immediately everything changes. The one thing I'll tell everybody is like, be your own medical advocate. It's like I tell everybody, like, if you're not your own cheerleader for anything you're doing in life, no one's going to be that cheerleader for you. No one's going to be excited for you. So when it comes, if you don't feel like you got the right answer, then you get the right answer.
Absolutely right. And then you start looking around and going, okay, I'm definitely not doing what all these other people are doing because they're all sick. So I got to do something different. And that was one of the things too, talking about the kids. And we were, what are some of the things that was different with them? Really, it was just a mindset as well. Like I never allowed the kids to say that they were sick. Like they didn't even know what the word sick even meant.
Yeah.
And so like for example, Jacob, he got into, he was at his grandparents' house and he knew that like a box of some kind of organic cereal. So of course, there's no preservatives in it, like a regular box of oops that might be, still good for 3 years. This was not. So he gets in the box, eats like the whole entire box. And later on that evening, he's getting a fever. And so, of course, we don't say, okay, you have a fever and now you're sick. We would always say, he's like, I'm not feeling good. Okay, your body's expressing health because your body's always doing the right with the run conditions. It always wants to heal you. That's what it is doing. So I remember one night that was going on and he had this fever and next thing you know, he's throwing up. So I'm in the bathroom with him and it's coming out of both ends and I'm sitting in the bathroom with him. And as a parent, you hate seeing your child go through something like that. You don't want them to feel bad, but you also know it's a growth moment just for his own body.
Yeah.
So he's sitting there and he's throwing up and he's sitting on the toilet at the same time. And I never forget it. He looked up at me and he's like, Dad, you know what? I really don't like it that much. And it doesn't feel like my body is expressing. And so even to this day, he goes to school in Nashville. He's actually a musician.
Oh, cool.
And even to this day, he's like, yeah, Dad, my body was expressing health last night. And so it sucked because I had a test. I had a test going on the next day. I really didn't like my body expressing health, but he still gets it and he still lives that. And he still, he'll make some choices that may not be the healthiest choice, but he also knows and understands what that does to his body, the way he feels. And when he's expressing health like that, so I'm proud of him because he still maintained that. And even when all the stuff was going on with COVID and all the stuff, and they were telling him at school, at university, that he needed to get vaccinated for that. He's like, Dad, with the running thing that I'm not going to be able to go to school if I don't do this. And I'm like, no, you can be able to go to school. Let's take a look. So we looked on the website and we saw that no, it was not a mandatory thing to do that. And I said, all you got to do is just tell them that you don't want to do that.
It was crazy. And that was like such a divisive topic of so many people. For me, it's like, look, so like what you do for you is fine. Like I'm going to tell you to eat the way I'm eating. Don't force me to eat your way. Like we can all, we can all do our own thing. And if somebody wants to do that, that's fine. If someone doesn't want to, that's also fine. But it was such a wild time because it wasn't even like, even if you said one thing that wasn't like a very like mainstream idea, like even said like, well, I don't know about this one. It was like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? And like just questioning stuff. I mean, I was texting all of my friends that were in my clients that become my friends over 20 years that were in that. What do you think about this?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What do you feel? What are your colleagues saying? What is this?
And that was everything from like chiropractors to people who do like muscle testing to very mainstream surgeons who have friends in the cancer space, have friends in this space. It was really interesting to actually hear that the questions I may have had, they were also having too. And you didn't feel alone going like, oh, like we don't know enough information. We're getting the same shit you are. Yeah. We're all kind of flying blind here.
Yeah.
I'm somewhere between you two.
Yeah.
Yeah. I prepare and I actually tell people I purposely don't prepare for these.
Oh, I love
because if I know too much, I won't ask any questions.
True.
I've already read the book. What do I need to ask?
True.
Read on Wikipedia. So I come into this knowing nothing, purposely try not to get in on anything because that's where genuine curiosity, this is happening in real time.
It 100% is. And we're up in the hotel room. Like I said, I'm 65 pounds overweight at this point, just not doing good. And I look at Randy, this bluish, gray color.
It's because he's a reptilian.
I'm
kidding. Yeah. I'm referencing the alien topic I said earlier.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding around. I'm just teasing. He's not a reptilian. At least I don't think he is. He didn't show no gills behind the ears or anything.
He's not, but he looked like one. I'm like, dude, what's going on? He's like, man, I can't hold down any food. I'm not right. He literally just drops a bomb on me. And he's like, dude, I've got cancer. And he's like, hey, they found this cancer. It's on down my shoulder into my lymphatics. Liver, he pulls up his shirt. His liver is literally sticking out. Ugh. I'm like, let's regroup. We ended up going upstairs, the hotel lobby, getting to do this talk. So talk's gone out the window. And we're sitting there and this, I was like, it sounds super cheesy and this is exactly how it happened. But as we're sitting there, in the hotel lobby bar, there's a pianist and he sits down at the piano and he starts playing at the piano and he starts singing the Journey hit song, Don't Stop Believing. We just got to not stop believing that, you know what? God's created amazing healing power. Okay. And so we know that, and he mentioned this when you were talking to him, that the power that made the body heals the body. Doesn't need any help healing. It just needs no interference. We got to figure out where the interference is and believe that your body is going to heal. Yeah. You're going to overcome this and everything is going to be okay.
Yeah.
We do the talk. As finished doing the talk, I don't even remember what the heck we said. I don't know if it was recorded or not, but we finished. And one of the docs that was there, his name is Greg Lohman. We're talking to him and we're telling Greg what's going on. Dude, my wife just went and saw this doctor in Spain, this Dr. Hilu, that helps people with cancer. She went for Lyme disease. You guys got to go. And I think it was like literally Randy left from there and went directly over to Spain. And he goes there. He's in Spain getting treated. I go back home, and with the run, I wasn't doing great, but I was having to run this practice. And I get a text message from Randy, and he's like, get to Spain, stat 911. He didn't look good the last time that I saw him. I don't know if he's in a hospital bed there. I hope he's dying. I have no idea what's going on.
But you got to get to Spain ASAP.
The next day, hopped on a plane, get to Spain. I'm like, I'm going to go there, support him, pray for him, be there for him, adjust where I got to be. So I get there again, busy life. I'm stressed out. I get to the hotel staying at. I'm like, all right, where's Randy? Idea where he's at. So I'm texting him, don't know, have no clue. Well, I can't get into his room. The receptionist of the hotel goes, you know what? You can go sit by the pool. And by the way, in Marbella, Spain, the southern part of Spain, it's absolutely beautiful. I was so stressed out, I couldn't even see all the beauty around us.
I hate that.
Yeah, it was not a good time. So I'm sitting there, and then in a day of hours, it had flown in a couple days previous to me. And so I was walking around the corner. He's holding 2 beers, and he's like, you finally made it. Let's go down to the beach. We go to the beach. What the heck is going on? And I see Randy on the beach, and he doesn't look sick at all.
He's tan. He's been tan ever since.
His European Speedo, which I do not recommend. Just saying, it's my personal preference.
Why?
And with the run person,
you might be faster in the water.
Could be like a torpedo. So I go down there. I'm like, dude, why the hell did you tell me to come down here? You look great. Like, look. He's like, it took me about a week to be able to decompress out of here. Jeff, a couple days. We're going to get you over the stress in about 24 hours. Just relax. He's like, look, dude, if I didn't tell you to get down here stats, you know what? You end up having like I did, and you would have come down here. And so we had to get you we literally had to get you out of your life. So long story short, I ended up what I thought was going to be there for a few days. I think I was there for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Went down there. And so I learned a lot from that, but what I learned, like Randy was talking about with that doc, is we really started a lot more about metabolic health. Like I never really had even thought about metabolic health.
I need to pause you.
Yeah.
I need there's a lot of phrases we hear, like people talking about chronic illness, which Dr. Peter talked about what a chronic illness or chronic thing is. So what is, in short terms, what is metabolic? When there's metabolic issue, what do you call this again? It's metabolic what?
So it's a metabolic dysfunction.
Metabolic. Yeah. So what is a metabolic dysfunction, and how do you spot that? Like, how would I know if I have it?
Oh, great question. So when you dissect the word, okay, metabolism, meta means transformation.
Not Facebook.
Not Facebook is, yeah, exactly. It means transformation.
Okay.
Bol, the middle part, BOL is beginning of life. Okay, so what metabolism is, that your way of with the running back with the run, how your body was designed to be in the first place, to the beginning of life. Okay. So, and it happens at a cellular level. Your body has about 70 to 80 trillion cells that have this metabolic process where it's transforming things. Okay. In order to be able to heal, to repair, to replace old damaged cells. So really that a metabolic is the same process that every single one of the cells that your body is going through every second of the day, to be able to make sure that everything is working the way it's supposed to.
Okay.
That's awesome. How do you know at a mitochondrial level if your metabolism is working the way it's supposed to? Well, you can some of those symptoms could be brain fog, inflammation. Disease is a symptom of this. Cognitive decline is a symptom of it. On a basic level, if you've got somebody, everybody knows, okay, if you've got a great or a fast metabolism, your body's going to be able to utilize energy efficiently for fuel. If somebody's got a healthy metabolism, it's almost impossible for that person to be overweight.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that could also be because I know is it hypo or hyperthyroidism?
Which,
that's when you can't keep weight on, right?
So that's going to be hyper.
That's what I'm talking
about. Yeah, hypers. Yeah, exactly. They're all used for metabolic problems or problems because of poor metabolism. So like, for example, cancer, you look at, he was thin, so you could be thin unless you're unhealthy. And a lot of people don't realize that because they just think that metabolism is a weight thing.
I always think of those Lipitor commercials.
Yeah.
Where you see like the skinny person and then they fall flat on the red carpet and they're like cholesterol can affect even skinny people. Like that was more or less what the commercial was implying. But like, I always think about that when people are like, oh man, how did they die from this? What happened? They worked out all the time. They were fit, they were thin, they were slender, they were slim, all these other words to describe not obese or morbidly obese.
Yeah. Metabolically unhealthy. The statistics are saying over 80% of people in the United States are metabolically unhealthy.
When you look at someone, can you just tell if they're metabolically unhealthy?
Absolutely.
I'm probably on that list.
Absolutely. I wouldn't say that you're on that list.
Oh, I mean, look, I've been
just by looking at you.
Well, I've also been abstaining from beer. It's been like a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really going away from trying to, how about this? I'm not trying to not drink. I'm just going like, what is it that makes me want to have that nice cold Modelo or IPA? And I realized some of it's the flavor. I actually don't enjoy the feeling of it. It's actually just the flavor. So I feel like replace anything else. So I've been just now in the evening, if I want something to just mellow out with, I just get honey and blend it up. There you go. I'm just been doing like raw milk and honey. And that's my quote, like dessert.
I love it. No, that's
and it makes me not want to eat snacky little.
Oh, absolutely. And even just from the milk and the fat in the milk, you get the satiety. So it's satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that. So that's how we got interested, or that's how we got it really into studying the science of metabolism, because we need to heal ourselves. So for me, I am that person that was chronically overweight. When I was 18 years old, I was 200 pounds. I was only 5'4". Yeah.
So you're like the joke that I was talking about earlier. People max height, but they don't max out at width.
I was that person. I was about as wide as I was tall. Tabby rolled me down the street back then. So chubby kid that rolled me down all the things. So 13 years old, I was still motivated to want to lose the weight.
So you're saying peer pressure works?
Peer pressure absolutely works. Here's the peer pressure. Girls were not interested in the chubby fat kid at 13 years old. That was motivation.
It's one of those things where it's like my friends joke around about how some of the things of peer pressure actually like were a good thing sometimes. Now, peer pressure and teasing obviously has very outcomes. I'm not saying like calling, looking at me like, you're stupid, like that, not that. But like with my guy friends, we would that harass to push the other one for a better thing. And I think that's the difference between like good intention peer pressure and then bad intention peer pressure. Like if you ever go to like the river and like, Havasu, not Havasu, but like parts of like Lake Mojave and all that, there's off of, and they're relatively safe. They're not that tall. I remember I climbed up there and I was like, oh, I can't do it. My friend's like, come on, you sissy, you can do it. And you're like, I'm not getting called this. Because if you walk back down, you're never living it down. And then when box, you're like, oh man, this isn't that bad. And it's like I needed that positive peer pressure of friends going, you got this, you can do it. I was just scared of heights, and I still am. I freaked out last year in Dominican Republic on a zip line.
That's crazy.
It took my wife's friend, who's an ex-Marine, to go, you got this. Like she straight up looked this 5'3" little me straight in the ass. She's like, you have this. What are you worried about? She's like, there's nothing to worry about. Just get on it. And so I get on the zip line and I'm holding on, and then you get so far and then you let go and you fall into like this 14-foot pool. And after I did it, you know what I did, Rob?
What'd you do?
I did it again. And I did it again. It was so fucking freeing.
Yeah.
But like I needed her. And some people wouldn't say that's peer pressure. They would say that's encouragement. But when you have your peers saying this, there's nothing to worry about. Like I would still call that peer pressure.
And I think there's intention behind that as well. And that's a true friend. Somebody that's going to call you out for something that they know that you can be able to.
And you're only going to be because of it. Not like I'm setting you up for failure. Like, come on, dude, take that like 2-liter bottle of heroin, just jam it in your arm. Like that's a bad peer pressure.
That's a bad friend.
Yeah, it's a bad friend. By the way, how's this looking?
I love it.
See how you just kind of toss this up?
Yeah, it's completely different.
So you don't have to pull into the center or push it off. What I like to do is I like to mess this up because you have enough product in your hair right now, right? And like, let's say like you overslept. It'd be really cool to like wake up and just like toss your hair and go, oh, it looks.
Yeah.
And so find out these pieces that are really defiant and go like, okay, like right here, like, do I need this? Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. Just need straight there. So yeah. So you're back to your story. The overweight kid.
So with the
210 at 5'4", right? Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
210, 5'4". So I just did what everybody else had been teaching to do. I watched my mom was always chronically on a diet. So she would every Monday would start her new diet, whether it was like the or the slim fast shakes, the cabbage diet, the whole stuff. She did everything, but I was like, back then I'm like, all you're really doing is just cutting your calories. You're just not eating as much. So if a little is good, then a lot is better. So I would just literally stop eating. So there would be weeks go 6 days without eating and just drinking water to hurry up and lose this weight. So in the 8th grade is when I was 200 pounds. I went into the 9th grade. Yeah. That next, I weighed 124 going into the 9th grade. Wow. Yeah, it was just one of those things where looking back, it was probably anorexic, obviously.
I was going to say, when you don't eat, it's anorexic. And when you eat and throw up, it's yeah.
100%.
And what year was this?
So, gosh, that would have been when I was 13 years old. So that would have been like 1980, probably like 84, 85.
And I think just for perspective, mid 80s, eating disorders were not really talked about. And if they were, they're predominantly dealt with women.
You got it.
And I always feel like men's mental health dysmorphia really probably hasn't even begun to really be talked about regularly or normally maybe the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Like it's just something. Yeah. Like I like when I say like now, like if I said I thought about these things, so if my friends wouldn't harass me like the way they probably would have done if I was talking about these when I was 16.
Yeah. I was.
So this is like, you're like in this battle alone by yourself. No one knows. Like that's the worst place to be, in a battle alone with no one in your corner.
Yeah. So you just have to figure it out. And so that's what I did. And I knew, okay, that's not also, I wasn't healthy either. I didn't have any energy. I was weak. And so that really just, that started my fitness or my health journey. I'm like, all right, how do I be healthier in doing this? So I started working out all the time. So I went from that 124, then I went up to about 185 pounds, building muscle. But at the same time, it was all being done utilizing diet and exercise. And here's the thing, is that in order for me at that point, all the way up until I was about 38 years old, when all this stuff happened with myself and Randy, is I had to be perfect with my diet, perfect with my exercise, just to maintain a healthy weight. I'd have to act crazy, maintain a certain level of calories. And if I didn't, I would gain my way back. And that's what happened when I injured my back.
Yeah.
At that time that happened, because anymore. So because I couldn't exercise anymore, all the weight comes back. And that right there, if you've got a metabolism problem, is if you've got to be perfect with your diet, perfect with your exercise to maintain, and you can have a metabolism problem.
That, I think what you just said is what I've had so many people tell me in the chair. If they don't watch every single thing, if they don't measure every gram, if they don't run for every mile, lift for every weight, they can't fit into the wardrobe that they show off this body that they've been working hard towards. That like I felt at some point, I'm like, this is not how humans live.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting doing just the physical workout to do that. It's exhausting planning your meals. It's exhausting for meal prep. It's exhausting just to think about all the things you have to do before you actually get to the physical fucking exhausting part, which is the workout.
Not only that, the confusion that's presented nowadays as well, because if you Google, okay, how do I maintain a healthy weight or how do I lose weight? There's a million different ways to be able to do it, whether it's low fat, high carb, low carb, keto, paleo, all the things that are out there. So it's crazy confusing.
Go vegan, possible meats.
You got it. All the stuff out there. So that's where when we started really looking at the science of really for us. And so I watched Randy over cancer. I'm like, if he can be able to do that, surely I can figure this out as well. And then by applying what it is that we were learning with the 5 pound plus, got down to where I was supposed to be weight. That was 15 years ago, never gained it back. And so what happened is my patients started asking, what are you doing? We never seen you have this much energy. You're walking again. You're thin. You're at your healthy. And so I started teaching them how to do what it is that we were doing. And then the next thing you knew, it took on a life of its own. The next thing you know, metabolic experts helping people to do metabolically speaking. So what we teach is not to diet. We teach people how to get healthy so they can then lose the weight and keep the weight off through the system that we've tinkered around with now for 15 years and really been able to help just literally thousands of people. So it was really just about applying the same principles that we learned chiropractically speaking, and that's getting to the cause of problems, teaching them how to be able to get their bodies healthier. And that's how we got to where we're at right now with Happy Healthy. So, and I think Randy's back then 15 years ago, we were not happy and healthy. We were not the happy, healthy guys. We were the sick, overweight, depressed, and almost dead guys. And how I would have wanted to learn how to be able to do that. Really going through that. Why we always say it's our pain then became our purpose. And then with that came a promise to be able to help other people. And as we're speaking, I'm thinking, you know what? We're adding another P to that. And the next P to pain, to purpose, to promise is practice, is teaching people how to put that practice and apply that to their life.
Yeah.
And so it's been fun. And now we've been able to teach people literally all over the world in 7 different countries how to be able to do what it is that we do. We get to be able to come hang out here in Austin with you while people are getting metabolically healthy through what it is that we have to offer.
I'm curious. I feel like I need to take the metabolic score test and just see how fucked up my metabolism. I just know that if I just cut out like a few things, like my body weight changes drastically.
Yeah.
My wife and I, like our whole lives, we were able to just like eat whatever, right? And this is also going back in a time when like fast food is not good. Processed food is not good. You just don't know how not good it is because you hear your grandparents or your parents go, we ate the same thing, right?
Uh-huh.
And I saw a side by side. It was like ice cream fryers, one of the two. I can't remember.
Dryers, yeah.
And it shows like the ingredient list of like probably what I bought early 90s, right? When I was like 10. And then it shows the ingredient list like when they're tripled. It's like, okay, so like wrong. We're saying you're still eating the same thing. You're eating the same brand. You're eating the same labeled product, but you're actually not eating the same substance.
Not at all. Yeah.
It's not at all. Like the only thing you could probably say, yeah, I had that as a kid is like that Chiquita banana is probably still that Chiquita banana. That probably hasn't changed all that much through maybe like, crossbreeding and GMOs and all that. It's still probably a lot closer to the same thing 10 years ago than it was in these ice creams, right?
Yeah.
And that really had like a huge thing of me going like, okay, so like, what is it that we ate? And then again, I keep thinking like, how bad did I destroy my gut health with this, right? Because I started taking probiotics in the 20s, and then I started getting into digestive enzymes. I understand that like apparently we have a finite amount of these.
Sure.
Like if you have like $1 million, hey, here, spend it wisely, and you lose $1 million playing fucking, I don't know, poker or whatever. Like I'm not giving you $1 million. Like you've done it. And like when you run out of these things, apparently, theoretically, correct me if I'm wrong, doctor, you die. You run out of digestive enzymes. Like you only are born with so many. And you abuse your body in your teenage years, eating like shit, doing certain things like eating food, right? Average American diet is probably not that healthy. It's probably with higher processed foods in most countries. Oh, and through all these digestive enzymes, things that should not give me like a weird acid reflux have given me a weird acid reflux. So what do? I take digestive enzymes with my food when I know I'm going to be eating out with people when I'm traveling. I'm like, first off, I don't know what the fucking they're cooking shit in, but I know that like I feel so much better when I have those enzymes to help me break down that food better, because I know that like I've probably destroyed me, not because I wanted, because I was uninformed and my parents were uninformed.
Yeah.
My grandparents were uninformed. I talk about this age and they're like, what? What are you talking about? Digestive enzymes? That sounds crazy. I'll just take some Tums. And I'm like, yeah, it's not the same thing.
Same thing. I mean, gut health is so important. That's why one of the things that we do is once we get people metabolically healthy is also making sure that we're helping them be able to keep their gut. Because you have we were joking about the vagus nerve earlier. We got the gut brain axis. You got the vagus nerve as a direct link between the gut and then to the brain. So it's connected. And that's why they even call the gut your second brain.
Oh, I had she was a naturopath doctor. She was talking about this. Sadly, she did die during the pandemic from cancer. It was a horrible thing. She was one of my favorite clients. She was a beautiful, beautiful lady. And she had a lot of really amazing insight to offer us about that. But she was really talking about how your gut is your second. And I was just like, what are you talking about? And she started going more into it. It was fascinating. And the more people are talking about these fecal transplants that they do, like they get a fecal transplant from somebody who has bad acne, then some person who never had bad acne that got the fecal transplant is now having bad acne. The people who are getting it from people who are depressed, who have never experienced any depression, are now depressed. So I'm like, what's going on? Fucking gut that is able to control our mood, which makes me wonder, people who have, who suffer from depression. I'm not, no mental health crisis. I'm not saying have depression. I'm not saying, but I'm wondering, my curiosity is, I wonder if you were to go through and look at the biome and get their gut in a better, if would those things that they are saying now, would they be gone? And that's my hypothesis. This is not myself.
Yeah, when you look at just the anatomy of it, and you do see that there is that connection through that vagus nerve to the guts. And then you also see, the neurotransmitters that are created as a result of gut health, which is your dopamine, norepinephrine, all your feel-good hormones.
Yeah.
And then you start getting into like, even with the link, with the pineal gland, for example, the pineal gland, which is what creates your melatonin and is your circadian rhythms. There's a link to the gut there. That's also what secretes what they call the gut hormone, which is the DMT. What's so big now? Breath work. What they're showing is that's what's being secreted with breath work. When you feel that you have that gut feeling or that intuition, that's why they call that the gut. It's right, really feeling into that intuition. And now you start going down into the rabbit hole and you start looking at why it is that they put even fluoride in the water, for example, because the fluoride calcifies the pineal gland, and now it's not secreting these feel-good hormones, this gut hormone, the dopamine, the melatonin, but things in there. I think it's
you're going into crazy political territory now.
Yeah.
Like you're pointing out my problem, which is that like this should not be a weird political football. It's like, my understanding is like when they have fluoride, made this claim to me, and I thought it was really interesting, so that like having fluoride water is not being allowed a choice of a medical procedure, as they ask you if you want fluoride for your teeth at the dentist office, but they do not ask you if you want it in your water. I thought that was like a really interesting way to frame that argument, because if you have the ability to dentist, you should have theoretically the same choice with your water. And there are states that are removing it. I mean, Utah was the first one to do it. I think Florida's second. Texas is not on that list at all. We have a whole it all out. Of course. I'm the guy who's been trying to get fluoride and body since I was 15. So
yeah, you should absolutely be able to have it. And that's all about having that agency over your health.
And by the way, if you want fluoride, fucking go for it.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you not to. Like, look,
Absolutely.
I don't smoke cigarettes. You want to smoke cigarettes? Go for it.
Absolutely.
I don't care. Amazing. Alcohol. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
I'm just choosing not to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you got to get people. So yeah. Anyway, all that to say is, yeah, gut health is extremely important. But even before that, you got to make sure that your body is healthy. Not just being able to lose weight, which when you're healthy, you will. Yeah. But really, just for your overall health. So, done a combination. There's so many things that we can do to take agency over our health, but I think it really just comes down to doing things that really have already been given to us by nature. We're here at this body, and how do I with those all kinds of different things? If people can't get outside and get in sunlight, okay, well, red light's great. However, we do have sunlight. We can go outside. We sun.
We can ground. I mean, there's still grounding sheets.
Exactly. We can go outside, take your shoes off, right? Walk outside. Put your feet on the ground.
I mean, I feel that like kids are just, when my kids are running outside barefoot. I mean, you see my kid. I jokingly call my eldest, so his name's Tab, right? So he's Tab the third. I call him Tarzan because he hates to put on a shirt. He's like, oh, I have to put on shoes. I'm like, yes. Why can't I? I'm like, you can go in public without shoes, but like you're gonna have really dirty feet, and like I just don't want that. Like, we have a white couch. You're gonna rub your dirty feet all over the couch, right? So it's like, but it's so funny because like, he just, as soon as he can, he's like, wait, I can play in water and like get dirty. Like I can just run around with like only my shorts on. Like he is Tarzan. He has long blonde hair.
Yeah, he looks like Tarzan.
Totally. I call him Tarzan. Now my younger one, he's like, he will follow his older brother's lead. He's not the first one to do it. Person who never, but like I look at them and they're like always running around playing. And I think about when I was a kid, I'm like, I was always running around like my oldest son, just running around like Tarzan. Yeah, and like, why was I happy? Well, I was outside. I was in the sun. I was playing water. It was penning dirt. I was shoeless the whole time. And I grew up in California. So like we're at the beach, you're in the ocean, right? Like there's a whole idea of saltwater frequency in that too. And I'm like, man, every time somebody goes on vacation, what do they do? They're like, vacations now are about unplugging from the grid. Yeah. And they're paying money to go on retreats where they're taking your cell phone away. So I keep feeling like the more I can get away from it, happier and healthier I feel. And you see it with kids
all the time. That's why we're going to run in a retreat in Croatia. Oh, wow. And the following week, we're speaking in London. So we're like, all right, what are we going to do the week between? So we're actually going to go to, and I was listening about blue zones, and we completely agree with what your thought is as far as the blue zone and what the people are eating. And one of the 5 original blue zones is Sardinia, Italy. Yep. So we're going to go to Sardinia, Italy. Cool. And go interview some of these centurions so we can actually get real information from people who are centurions about what it is that they've been doing. I can guarantee you they don't have red light units. They don't have these biocharger units that they're sitting in front of all day long. They're not doing all the biohacking stuff. They're doing things naturally. And I guarantee you that my hypothesis is going to be that the strong of people, minded people who are praying together. They have the same purpose, life together. Heck, you just look at Italians, for example. Sunday afternoons are all together. The dinner together. They're all fellowshipping together. It's just a different way of doing life, and they're over like a 3 or 4 hour period. They're not, eating in 10 minutes and wolfing things down. So,
and again, all that pasta is probably made that day or the day before.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing that I learned when I was traveling Europe, particularly in Germany, where I spent many more of my time on that trip, is Sunday, everything closes.
I know.
Thing was maybe small, and like a weird pub that served like shitty food or whatever, and maybe like one touristy place. Because I was in Bavaria, but I was, long story short, but I met up with my buddies that were on tour, and amazing, like, oh, but everyone's out. They're like doing picnics, they're walking around, they're all doing family time. And it was one of those things where I was like, okay, so like, you know, people talk about in the biblical term, Sundays is day of rest and you should honor that. But I was like, wow, it was really interesting to see a small village in Würzburg, which is like where Dirk Nowitzki of the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay.
Right. I stayed at a friend's house and she's like, see that house right there? She goes, that's Dirk's parents. I was like, oh, okay. But it was one of those things where to see like how this small little village in Bavaria, everything was closed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever seen a place where everything was closed on a Sunday, but it was cool. And then, it was like and I was like 29. So it was a huge reminder for me to go like, okay, there's something to this, like just powering down, getting away. And just seeing all the families, multi-generation families, by the way, too. That it's not just like mom, dad, it was dad, aunt, uncle, grandma, baby, everyone.
Yeah.
And you just don't see that.
You don't. And I think it's beautiful. That's why I'm excited about it. I remember last time we had been in Italy, we're in Sorrento, and I dropped my phone. Speaking of unplugging, phone's not working, of course, freaking out. And it was a Sunday. Yeah. Not one place fine to be able to either fix my phone or get a new phone. They're like, you're going to have to come back on Monday morning.
Yeah.
Had to unplug, forced to.
Yeah, no, it's really nice when you're able to like unplug from stuff. How are we feeling?
Sam, I don't know that my hair has ever looked this good.
You can be honest. You can say, again, it's just something I just wanted to give you. Yeah. So you can move your hands to your hair if you ever feel frustrated talking to somebody like, you're full of shit about metabolic, blah, blah, and you're like, and then you'll still look cool afterwards. You won't leave looking frustrated. You'll just look like more person who
absolutely love it. Yeah.
Yes. Your hair, like you have some wave in here. By the way, I don't really think your hair is all that difficult. It does not remind me of the hair of a Rottweiler's ass, is self-proclaimed. I've also never given the hair near a Rottweiler's ass any close attention. I try to stay away from that part of the dog.
Now.
I don't think so. No, I am not curious about that. I can guarantee you. I will take your word for it. But yeah, it's just something that you can go through and just kind of like toss around. And again, I did take that front part just a little shorter, but it's just these long streaks of hair that were just like making it not look as dense to the front.
I love it. Thank you.
So yeah, see how this is just more square. It's just a little bit more leaner through the sides. And it looks nice on the camera. So
thank you.
Yeah. So sorry, I feel like we've talked about a lot of other stuff, but I wanted to kind of like end on the note of like, so metabolic thing is like where your mission life is taking you, or it has taken you. So I'm imagining the story of myself is that metabolic issues are not isolated to an age group.
No, not at all.
And my other story I'm building is that it's happening at a younger age group every year.
Yeah.
And is the average age group that people are coming to you, if there is amazing that you can say like, hey, we're noticing most of the people who are coming to us are within this age group, and we're starting to know it's increasing, what number is that?
So I'd say when we first started off, it would have been around 45 years old. Okay. Oh, they're coming in at younger ages. So we're seeing it at 30, 35 years old.
Okay.
Because typically by that, it's affecting, they don't like the way they look.
Okay.
They don't like their appearance because they are overweight. They don't like fit unless and they're ready to do something.
So it's stemming from a vanity issue.
It is stemming from a vanity issue. And we this way too. I was a kid. I was 10 chubby fat kids in the class.
Yeah.
When you go to schools now, 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10,
reverse.
It's completely reversed. And so that shows us that the problem is getting worse at a much younger age.
you're probably expecting that like this is, people have been talking about metabolic health. I've been seeing that more since I've in October. What is the best way for someone to like assess that? Is there a self-assessment that they can do?
Yeah, they go to metabolismscore.com. There's a quiz there that they can be able to quiz.
Yeah.
To let them know whether they have or may have a metabolism problem, and they can give them the steps and things to do after that.
Is it crazy? Like how to fix this? Like, do I have a chance of reversing my metabolism?
And that's the beauty. If you try to do it on your own, it is so overwhelming. There's so many things out. For the last 15 years, that's what we've been tinkering with. One of our superpowers is to be able to take those things that feel overwhelming and slow that down into steps. So it's really easy once you know what the steps are. It's 3 steps.
Even better.
3 steps.
And steps.
3 steps.
We're going to have to talk more about this. I'm curious because, I'm wondering how many young adults are going through just the moods. Like I have a couple clients and they're lecturers or they work in the collegiate level. And they're just talking about how so many of the kids, they have to make so many accommodations because the person who anxiety level of mental health depression, but the anxiety thing. And I'm wondering, like when kids are getting potty trained, have a lot of anxiety because they don't know how to know that they need to go poop.
Yeah.
I'm not saying these adult people have anxiety, but I'm wondering, but that's all part of that gut issue.
It's all, again, it just goes, that stuff all lives downstream of for metabolic health.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
With the running.
Well, how can they find you?
They can go to thehappyhealthylife.com or they can check us out on Instagram at the life on Instagram. Just do the quiz.
Okay.
Metabolismscore.com.
Cool.
Oh, thank you. It's been great. Thank you so much. I love it.
Awesome. Later.